Oi, meu nome é Elder Wilson e sou missionário da Igreja Jesus Cristo dos Santos dos Últimos Dias e acabei de voltar da minha missão. Hi, my name is Elder Wilkinson, and for the last year and a half I've been serving as a missionary in the Brasilia mission. I think my favorite thing about Brazil was for sure definitely a big part of the culture there, which is a big culture of very welcomingness. I don't even know if that's a word, but basically there, whenever you get to someone's house, it's part of the culture that they let you in, that they give you food, that they give you water. Every time that we went into someone's house, they always offered us a drink of water. They always offered us a snack to eat, something to eat. And for me, that really showed me that the Brazilian people are really caring, and they've got that hospitality. And I thought that was just awesome. Something that they don't really have here. There was one time we were talking with a Brazilian lady there. She had come to the United States to visit for like a month. And she told me, if you go to the United States, then you're just going to go hungry. Because you go to people's houses, they don't offer you food. My mission president, he was a federal judge before. That was his occupation. And so as you can probably imagine, he was very strict in his rule guidance. Everything was very black and white for him. There was no gray area in the middle. So he didn't have any extra, I would say any extra rules in addition to the missionary handbook that we have, but he did interpret something that it says in the missionary handbook to be different than I have already seen in other missions. And one example of this would be the haircut. He told us that we must all cut our hair to be the same length in every part, like on every side. So he said you can choose if you want to cut it with the hair clippers or if you want to cut it with scissors, but you can choose the size. Like you can choose, I want it to be a 5 or a 4 or a 3, but it all has to be the same. So one thing that I had to do while I was on my mission was cut my hair to be all the same length. Cutting it all the same length actually came from, I think, the translation that the missionary handbook has in Portuguese. In English, it says that your hair must be evenly trimmed. Yeah, so it says your hair must be evenly trimmed. And in Portuguese, it says that your hair must be cortado por igual, which means like equally cut. So basically means the same thing, but it leaves to the interpretation what does equally cut mean. And what he interpreted from that is that it must be all the same size. During my mission, I also did get robbed one time, which fortunately for me, there was nothing like super scary that happened. There's nothing that really happened in that, because I have heard lots of other stories where people are beat up or maybe cut with a knife or something like that. But it was actually in the middle of the day. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was super bright outside. We're in the middle of the street, and out of nowhere, 2 dudes on a motorcycle stopped, and one of them got off the motorcycle and just started saying, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And I was really confused actually, because I've never been robbed before this. So I just got really confused. I was like, where do you want to go to? Like, what do you want? Who are you? And he didn't say anything. He just said, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. And so I looked at my companion, and my companion is Brazilian, and he's from a city called São Paulo. And that city is actually a really big city. And so he's already been robbed like 4 or 5 times, I think, during his life. So he just saw the dude. He already was getting the phone out of his pocket. And I was looking at him. I was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you giving our phone to him? We don't even know who this dude is. And then the dude took the phone. He looked at me and was like, you too. And I was just confused. So I didn't even say anything. I just looked at him, kind of blank stare, like, what? And then when he realized that I wasn't going to give him anything, then he got on the motorcycle, and then they drove away. As they were driving away, I looked at him and I was like, wait a second. We just got robbed. Like, that was a robbery. I didn't even realize it until after it happened. I was like, wait, that was a robbery that just happened. I looked at my companion and was like, do you know him? And he was like, no. And I was like, why did he do that? And he was like, dude, that was a robbery. And I was like, oh man. Now it all makes sense. And my companion actually got a little mad at me afterwards because I guess while they were robbing us, I had a little smile on my face because I thought it was a joke. So I was kind of just like, that's kind of funny. Like, what are they doing? And my companion was looking at me just like, stop smiling. Like, they're going to beat us up if you do that. All the missionaries always think about, what's it going to be like when I get back home? Like, how's it going to be? Because you're gone from your family for a long time. So you kind of just are really excited to see them again. And I always imagined that had imagined that it would be like a giant entourage and that everybody would be there, and I'd kind of just like be walking down the stairs like, yes, I finished, and then it'd be awesome. But then this kind of thing in the middle of my mission was kind of weird. I didn't even wear my suit because I knew I'd been traveling for so long, so I was in like a totally dirty shirt because I hadn't showered since Tuesday. It was pretty weird. That's probably the best word to describe it, like a weird experience. Because it's just strange. The thing is, like 1 week before that had happened, I had never imagined that I'd be going home. Like on Sunday night, it didn't even come into my mind. And then Monday morning, they already told us that we were going to be leaving. So very weird experience, but it is always great to see my family again. And that was really awesome. I wouldn't say that I had one single experience that made a giant impact on me. As I look back, I see a giant change in how I think, in the way that I live the gospel, and the reason why I live the gospel, really. And the strength of my testimony as well, I think, has increased significantly. I did have one pretty cool experience on my mission where we were having a lot of difficulties with the work and with finding people, and we were already getting to the end of the transfer, so we were already kind of not super motivated. But we decided one day, when all of our appointments had fallen through, when everything went wrong, we decided one day that we're going to do a prayer. Say a prayer. We're going to say a prayer. And we said a small and simple prayer, asking God to show us where we needed to look to find people. And when we ended the prayer, I got an address in my head. And as I thought about it, it wasn't a super specific address, but it gave me the street and where it was. So we decided we were going to go to that street. We went to the street and we started knocking on doors on that street. And the first door that we knocked, there's nobody home. So we moved on to the second one. The second door that we knocked, we were received by a wonderful young man who received us. He started receiving the messages, and he had a giant change in his life as he came to the gospel. And after that day, after that moment, I said to myself, I'm never going to doubt again the power that prayer has to help us, in that the fact that God answers prayers, because that response was a really powerful response for me, that I received that where we needed to go, and then immediately we found someone that had been prepared by God to receive the message. So I really thought of that as a miracle in my life and a miracle in my mission. Então eu gostaria de prestar meu testemunho que eu tenho em português, porque quando estava na missão eu estava falando português. A verdade do Evangelho de Jesus Cristo é muito simples. E é isso que é o mais importante. Mesmo que nós tenhamos outras coisas que podem nos distrair, nós devemos lembrar de que Jesus Cristo é nossa rocha. Ele é a pedra da esquina de nossa salvação. E eu sei que Ele expiou por nossos pecados. Ele sofreu por cada um de nós. Nós sabemos que Ele, quando Ele estava sofrendo no jardim de Getsemane, e até quando Ele estava morrendo na cruz, que Ele pensou em cada um de nós. Ele pensou em você, ele pensou em mim. E isso que me fortalece. Me fortalece saber de que por meio dele eu posso ser melhor. Que por meio da expiação dele eu posso voltar a viver como nosso Pai Celestial. E isso é somente possível por meio da expiação de Jesus Cristo, por meio daquele sacrifício que ele fez por todos nós. E eu fico maravilhado por causa do extremo amor que ele tem por todos nós. E eu sei que ele tem esse amor por nós. Eu sei que hoje em dia é por isso que ele colocou a igreja dele aqui na terra. Que hoje em dia ele fala para nós por meio dos profetas e também por meio da revelação pessoal. Que hoje em dia nós temos 12 apóstolos e um profeta vivo. Que o livro de Mórmon também é uma outra ajuda que nos ajuda a nos aproximar mais a Deus e a Jesus Cristo. E eu sei que ele é verdadeiro. Eu sei que a igreja é verdadeira. E eu tenho certeza de que o presidente Russell M. Nelson é o servo autorizado de Deus para ser um profeta aqui na terra e para nos ajudar nesses últimos dias. E sem a ajuda dele, sem a ajuda do profeta e sem a ajuda especificamente da revelação pessoal das Escrituras, não será possível sobreviver nesses últimos tempos e passar por essas dificuldades que nós vamos ter que passar. Eu sei que Joseph Smith foi um profeta de Deus, que ele viu o próprio Deus e seu Filho Jesus Cristo no bosque sagrado. E gostaria de deixar esse testemunho em nome de Jesus Cristo. Amém.